Pixel and Agent Sovryn. Welcome to Unimatrix Zero.
Thanks, computer. So, Brian, looks like we have the whole place to ourselves.
We do, actually. Did you have something in mind to do?
Well, this is virtual reality. I thought maybe we could.
Pixel, you look... I love VR.
Come here, Brian. Oh, fuck yes.
The Climax.
Woo! It is time for the Climax. And the Climax is where I could talk about anything. Could be a movie, TV show, book, comic books. You probably won't hear me talk about comic books anytime soon because other than like what Valiant and Image have coming out, like Marvel and DC are sucking ass right now. Even though awesome, the Batman and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles crossover comic that just came out, fucking brilliant. Loved it. Star Wars comics have been great too, but those are whole other subjects. But yeah, oh boy, and I just found out that Ninja Turtles 2 is coming out in 2016. I can't fucking wait. That's the best news I've seen it's going to have Megan Fox in it. Holy hell. It's going to be, I loved the first one. I did a review during a Climax a long while ago for the first Ninja Turtles movie. I loved it. Can't wait for the second one. So, but until then, we have the awesome multi-issue Batman Ninja Turtles crossover that I've really been enjoying. So, and actually, I have a topic to talk about. It's a pretty serious one, and it's one I get the most questions, and really, I think I get the most heat for, more so than anything else. But I wanted, with what happened in the San Perdue's recently, that San Bernardino, the shooting there. Anytime there's a shooting, I often get asked to talk about guns because I think, and I'm actually pleased by this. I'm noticing more people. Because I used to be the only one. I think I was literally the only one that's in the Liberty Lover camp that is really sick of every time there's a shooting, people just start saying, it's like, oh, if only he was packing a Glock. Woo! If only he had an AR-15 on his back, that wouldn't have happened. Boy, if I was there, I would have handled it because I'm fucking Rambo. I mean, like that's kind of the shtick that gets, put out there. Like, oh, I'm a real man. I would have shot everybody up, and made sure no one else got hurt. It's like, oh yeah. And how many other people would you have shot in the process? But anyway, so I am going to talk about self-defense because I've gotten a lot of questions about it and people say, I have a kind of a popular look. I don't want to ban any, the thing with guns, the whole gun topic. And I have something I want to read from a Sovereign Tech listener. And this person was very vulnerable and put this out in the open on social media. And I thought it was really powerful. And I'm going to read it here in a second. Okay. But I think the whole gun debate is meaningless. It's a property debate. Do you have the right to own property? Regardless of what it is, do you have the right to own property? And my answer is, yes, you have the right, you have the right to own, to have possessions. Okay, do you have the right to possessions? Yes. And is a gun one of those possessions? Of course. Does that mean I like guns? No, I hate the fucking things. I hate objects that have no purpose. We're not talking about rifles here. We're not talking about hunting rifles. That has no purpose other than to kill another human being. It was specifically designed, because look, if a 9mm Beretta was designed to kill a deer, as well as I do, it would be built in a very different fashion. That is specifically designed to take the life of another human being. That's a fact. So that's the kind of guns I'm talking about here. Now, I want to read this from, again, I really appreciate this person putting this out there. I did not write this, but it's the first time that I've ever really heard from somebody, a very rational, very reasonable, very liberty-loving person. It's the first time I've ever read it really from someone else in that ilk. And so I really want to say thank you to that person because you made my day. You made my year because I finally felt understood. Here, I'm going to read it. I am experiencing some cognitive dissonance and would like to crowdsource some opinions to help me form a logical philosophy. So like I said, this person posted this on social media. I choose not to be armed, but support the right to arms. I am a veteran with 3 kills, a low point in my life. And Stallion breaking in, I can really relate to that. I am a veteran as well, and a lot of kills. Reading on. So many people on FB, on Facebook, who espouse the eagerness to use deadly force, even if justified, are the ones who have never had to. I would like to see some sort of awareness regarding the efficiency of non-lethal weapons. Pepper spray, stun guns, and tactical flashlights are all options depending on range. Even crude hand-to-hand can save your life. Remember GETS, and that's an acronym. Groin, eyes, throat, shin. These are weak areas on everybody where they are likely to be the most vulnerable. Of course, at that point, you're vulnerable and desperate. Don't hold back. And I just want to iterate on this. It's very similar. GETS is something I was taught as well in various ways in the Army, also when I took Krav. And Bruce Lee talked about this. Like Bruce Lee, some people consider the ultimate fighter, right? Bruce Lee even said, look, if if it's a fight, there's no holding back. You're going to poke eyes. You're going to pull hair. You're going to punch in the nuts. Reading on. If you think I'm being naive, go to an open gun range with a friend. Set up a moving target. Now, fire, we're talking about moving target here. Now, fire at that target while you're running. I would say most people would not even hit the target, and your quote-unquote target would likely not have hit you. As in saying, imagine another person with a gun on the opposite end firing at you. If you're both moving, who's going to hit who? In the hypothetical attack, there are now 12 to 36 bullets flying around, doing who knows what damage to whom. Special Forces and SWAT are the only ones I know who train for stress shooting. Thoughts? Just tired of seeing violent memes on Facebook when there are alternatives. Now, I can't begin to say how much I appreciate reading that and how understood I finally feel. Someone else laid it out. Beautifully, I might add. And I want to start off with this first thing. So many people, I want to read it again. So many people on Facebook who espouse the eagerness to use deadly force, even if justified, are the ones that have never had to. And this is the first point that I get to when I talk about guns, is I say, look, if you've ever actually killed somebody, and I don't hear this from, I don't know that many people. In fact, I was playing a game. I was in a game at Porkfest. Okay, guns everywhere, and the game was kind of a twist on Truth or Dare. And I'm sitting around this group of people, and I asked, you're supposed to say like, all right, who has done this, and then that person's supposed to stand up, whatever. And so I was just like, all right, whatever. How many people here have killed somebody? Nobody stood up. Now it's a small group. I grant you, and I asked even like how many people have been shot. Nobody. I mean, we went all the way, and but it's so ironic that here's a ton of people ready to defend themselves and all this stuff, and yet they have no clue what the aftermath feels like of doing that act. And I think if they did, they'd be a little less trigger happy about posting some stupid fucking meme with bullets in the shape of a heart. I don't think, and the reason that I don't believe in the use of lethal force, and that's really what this comes down to. It's not necessarily even about guns. It's about my belief in the use of lethal force. First off, I think that there's, we talked a lot about psychology in this episode. Okay. I think there is an unconscious psychology because that's what a lot of these libertarians want, right? They want everybody to be fucking armed. Everybody better have a gun because an armed society is a polite society, right? I think that's shit. I think that's an armed society is a society of fear. Okay, because everybody's walking around consciously or unconsciously with the, concern that at any given point, if they just tick somebody off the wrong way, because what happens if you offend somebody? I mean, we know what happens, during the Renaissance. If you offended somebody, if you said something about somebody's sister, you'd get a blade run through you. Now, fortunately, for some reason, people found it acceptable to not walk around with rapiers all day long anymore. But now people just want to go back to that kind of society where if you insult somebody's sister, because that's the thing, right? Value is subjective. So what they consider offensive could be a different thing. And I wonder, if you're just walking around like everybody's being polite. So everybody's being polite based upon the fact that everybody's carrying a fucking gun? Like they're not just polite intrinsically? That's a problem. That's a real problem. And I think that there's an unnerving bit of fear that people would walk around with if they, the only reason that people, didn't say rob each other or, they didn't commit some kind of act against another, some kind of heinous act against another person was because they were scared to death that they were going to get shot. I mean, that is by definition a society of fear. And no, folks, fear is not a good thing. Not in general, not fear of another human being. Yes, there's fears that have evolved. There's like perhaps we evolved the fear of snakes and spiders. Okay, that's fine. But the fear of other human beings? No, of course not. If we're enlightened, that in and of itself, if we're enlightened people, thanks to the Renaissance and science, that in and of itself precludes that we are not afraid of each other. So there are alternatives, to lethal force, because that's what I'm talking about here. And I don't think, I don't walk around pretending that in every situation I know exactly what's going on and that I have somehow the right to be judge and jury and executioner of what somebody's going through. And it's always a hoot, because every time I bring that up, someone says, what if somebody you love is getting raped? Well, those same people that usually are, yeah, guns, baby, woohoo, guns, are the same people that say, there's no rape culture, there's no patriarchy, what the fuck are you talking about? Well, then, okay, if there's no rape culture, then who the fuck's going to be getting raped? Rape doesn't happen, according to you. Slap nuts? I'm running out of time now. I didn't get into the alternatives to self-defense. I believe in self-defense. Okay, I believe that there will probably always be human beings that want to, that have malicious intent. So I believe in self-defense. I believe in, getting out of a situation. Okay, but I think like this this listener of the show who wrote this beautiful post, I think he's right. The average person that is, that goes to a shooting range, and I don't see, people, it's so funny because people in New Hampshire, they keep posting shots of them at the range and all that stuff. I never see shots of them in motion. They're not used to, in the Army, we had to do that. We had to, okay, what is it like to shoot while moving and all of this stuff? It's a very intense matter, very serious. But I don't think most people could hit a target if they were moving. And I don't think, and that goes both ways for the thief or not. And if a person's holding a gun up to you, 5 inches from your face, what? You think you can get to your gun and the gun's going to save you at that point? No, Krav Maga is going to save you at that point, where you know how to react to that situation. So I'm not saying people need to, I've covered this in the past on Sovryn Tech. It's been a long time since I've done it. And I've gotten a ton of questions because recently I responded, to an article by Sheldon Richman and all that. Folks, the time it takes to really learn, like saying how to shoot at moving targets, etc., the time it takes to learn that, you could learn actual self-defense principles, and you could internalize them to where they become instinct in that same amount of time. I've recommended Krav Maga, I don't recommend like learning Taekwondo and all this stuff, because look, all those disciplines were made for a completely different world, a world without guns. Krav Maga was made for the modern world, where people carry knives, guns, and yada, 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 and how to, with your bare hands, incapacitate, not kill, but incapacitate somebody. Okay, that is threatening you. I recommend doing that. Flashlights are well known to be an incredibly easy deterrent. Light in general. Okay, a street lamp equals, and this has been found in statistics, a street lamp equals 20 patrol cars in even the worst parts of a town. Shining lights on things, not just metaphorically, okay, is a really powerful thing. So flashlights are something to consider, pepper spray, all these things are things to consider. Tactical pens, I've talked about those on Sovryn Tech. Those are, very, very handy for a million reasons. But yeah, you just, like the FB poster mentioned, gets, okay, groin, eyes, throat, shin. And you take a tactical pen, and yes, you go for the eye if you need to defend yourself. There are so many things, so many easy things, and you can just skirt the entire legal system with a lot of this stuff too, to where you're worried that, because what are the chances, say you're having an encounter with, bad actors, be it police, be it, government run or not, what are the chances of you carrying a gun right now that they're going to, it's going to heighten their response? As in, you are more likely to get shot if you're carrying a gun than you're not. I think that's kind of been proven a lot today. The gun is not the only answer to self-defense, and nor should it be the quick answer to self-defense, because that's what a lot of other people will say. Well, but it's quick and easy. No, if you're not going to take the time to learn how to fire that goddamn thing properly, and you're not going to take the time to learn how to, how to aim and how to do windage and all of this stuff, you're just as fucking dangerous as the person supposedly you're defending against, because there's a good chance, like the person said, 12 to 36 bullets are just going to be splayed all over the place. And who knows what the fuck they're going to hit. So yeah, I want people to consider non-lethal options. They're out there, they're real, and I want you to consider that you don't know enough about another person's situation to be able to judge and execute them for what they're doing at that moment. That's something I want you to think about. I'd like a logical philosophy to get built up around this, like non-killing and all of that. That's a place to start. Anyway, enough of that. Sorry to end it on such a serious note, but I thought it was important to get out there. Carpe Lucem, everybody. I'll see you on the other side. And hey, I don't want to ban guns.
You just experienced Sovryn Tech. Go to sovryntech.com. That's SOVRYN tech.com. And connect with us there. Find links from today's show and catch our podcast feed. Sovryn Tech is copy heart. Copying art is an act of love, and love is not subject to law. So please share the show however you like. Welcome to the evolution.